So my transition from teacher to finance and becoming the managing director of Amey Finance Academy is an interesting one. I was a school teacher for over 10 years. In fact, I worked as an assistant head teacher in schools and colleges across London. And I became a teacher for many different reasons, but mainly to make an impact. However, I became disillusioned very quickly. And the reason why was because I felt the school system hadn't updated in 150 years. We were still teaching students things that they were never going to use when they left school. And we weren't teaching them core skills that would enable them to succeed financially. We weren't teaching them things such as APR, such as CCJs, credit reports, all of these things that were practical and they would actually use once they left school. However, one of the main issues I had as a school teacher was that I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was completely broke. So this was my life. I would get paid at the end of the month. Because I was in my overdraft, I'd still be in my overdraft after I got paid. By the 5th of the month, I'd have completely no money. So I'm now having to live off my credit cards. I became the very definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So if there were challenges such as the car breaking down, the boiler breaking down, these things would be an issue. We weren't able to go on holiday as a family. These times I was up at night with money on my mind. You know, as a man, I didn't feel like I was able to provide. It all came to a head when I was diagnosed with high blood pressure. And these times I'm working very hard and I was constantly being overlooked for promotions. I'd hit a glass ceiling and it was very frustrating. And then there was this moment when I was down to the last few pounds in my bank account. And I had to reach out to a friend of mine to transfer me £1.85 so that I could draw my last £10 out the cash machine. You know, this was a real breakthrough moment for me because that's when I realized that something had to change. And if I kept doing the same thing, I was gonna keep getting the same results. And I remember putting my card into the machine and it came up with that message. You know, do you wanna check your bank account? And I thought the machine was taking the mick, to be honest. However, it was at that moment that I realized I needed to do something different. So I reached out to a friend of mine and I asked him for help. And he recommended that I read a book. And the book was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And the book completely blew me away because for the first time, I realized that there were financial principles to wealth. And for the first time, I felt confident that I could have abundance. So the book will fire you up. But here's the reality. A lot of people read the book and do absolutely nothing. But that wasn't going to be my story. And the reason why was because I had a burning desire and an insatiable appetite to succeed. I couldn't go back to living paycheck to paycheck. So what did I do? There were key things that I did, and everything is in the book. I'm not a genius, I just followed the principles. So the first thing the book talks about is putting yourself in the right environment. And this was very important for me. So what I did was I started to go to courses and workshops and seminars. And by doing that, I'm now surrounding myself with like-minded people. So what did I do? I went to property courses and I started to build a property empire. I went on to trading courses, financial trading courses, and I learned how to trade. I went on to a finance course, and this is what kick-started my journey into opening my own finance company. So when my daughter was born, I had my 2 weeks paternity leave. So that, coupled with my summer holidays, I used to do all my finance exams, and in particular, my mortgage exams. So I was now a mortgage broker. So after a long day teaching, I would spend 6 to 10 working on mortgage cases, you know, and working on my side hustle. And that's how Amey Finance started. It started off as a side hustle. In fact, I used to have an office under the stairs at school that I turned into my office for the finance company after hours. And I remember having a sign on the wall that simply said, Amey Finance. But the vision was much bigger. You see, I worked on the Isle of Dogs, not too far away from 1 Canada Square, the main Canary Wharf tower. And I could see the tower every single day. And that was the first thing that I placed on the vision board. Although I was under the stairs at school, the vision was to one day have a finance company that was in the main Canary Wharf tower. So now I actually had 2 jobs, and I'd missed the whole point of the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. You see, the book teaches you how to have passive income. But I had 2 jobs. I was working harder than ever before, albeit I now had more money. I remember being in Hawaii on our first family holiday, and I was working on mortgage cases. And that's when it hit me like a ton of bricks that although I had more money, I was not time free. And this became so valuable to me. So I had to go back to the book. You know, often we can read a book and completely miss the main point. And when I went back to the book, I realized I had to systemize the company. I had to create a business system. You see, the litmus test for a true business is if you can go on holiday for 6 months and your business is still generating money. And that's where I had to get Amey Finance to. I had to find a way to leverage other people's time. You see, it's far better to make 5% on 100 people's time than 100% of your own time. So I systemized the company. We acquired our first office in Romford. We had brokers working for us. So now I'm able to create streamlines of passive income. And the business just grew and grew and grew. Until recently, when we got to the point where we were a team of brokers and financial advisors, we were making good money, we were financially free, but the next logical step for us was to create an academy, naturally being an ex-teacher. And the academy was set up to share with people the financial secrets of wealth, to give people good financial education, to show people how to create multiple streams of income and how to build generational wealth where they're able to leave a real legacy.